Well, here's the new Sportster. And another one. But are they really? Sportsters, I mean. I'm not trying to crap on Harley, just saying the Sportster is an air-cooled pushrod 45-degree EVO V-twin with cooling fins and a lumpy potato sound. These are nice bikes, but they're not really Sportsters. V-rods maybe? The problem is that the V-rod never sold that well, though these days they do enjoy a bit of a cult following. But the Sportster did, which is why you can't step outdoors in North America without tripping over 3 or 4 of them. But alas, Sportster fell victim to Euro 5 regulations and was relegated to the dustbin of history, taking up a significant portion of that dustbin, as it could be argued it was one of the most important motorcycles ever built. Certainly, it was one of the longest running, with the first ones appearing in 1957 and the last one rolling off the line on November 18, 2022. Retired at 65, replaced by the V-Rod S and the Night Rod. But what's this? A new EVO Sportster to go on sale in the summer of 2023? What's this all about? Stay tuned to find out. And if you like the show, subscribe, like, share, yada yada. Thanks, it helps. Shineray is a Chinese car and motorcycle manufacturer which, in the case of motorcycles, produces a plethora of mostly small displacement bikes based on old Japanese and KTM designs. It sells self-branded motorcycles in China and produces bikes for sale overseas under brand names like SWM. Now, you may be wondering how a company can produce and sell another company's design. Simple. The older designs come off patent after a couple of decades and can be copied by anyone who cares to reverse engineer the engine. In the case of the Harley EVO, which debuted in 1984, the patent has long expired and there are several companies producing parts and full engines in various displacements and states of tune. In fact, you can build your own Harley Sportster with 0 actual Harley parts on it. But why would you go through the trouble of doing that when Shineray will build it and sell it to you under the brand name SWM V1200 Stormbreaker? Details of this bike? It's an air-cooled 1202cc 45-degree long-stroke V-twin EVO engine. Looks identical to my Sportster and doubtless just about is on the inside as well as out. The EVO Harley Sportster 1200 made about 67 horsepower and 72 pound-feet of torque, and I've heard various claims about this new bike's performance. Currently, the claim is that it lays down 81.6 horsepower and is Euro 5 compliant, which the Harley Sportster wasn't. There's also a claim floating around that the bike will top out at 200 km per hour, which is about 125 miles per hour. And I can tell you from personal experience that a stock Sportster ain't getting over 180 unless you drop it out of an airplane. Now, this same engine was demoed in China in the summer, and the original claim was 60 horsepower and a lower compression ratio than the Harleys, which would make sense if they were wanting to pass Euro 5. Additionally, the Chinese Harley Charlie motor is supposed to have improved cooling and reinforced crank and pistons. Whether this is true or not cannot be confirmed, but I have to admit that the motor both looks and sounds pretty good. And exact horsepower figures on the stock bike are not terribly relevant, as you can make the engine produce 100 horsepower with a few well-chosen mods. As for the styling, the bike actually looks good, if a little bland. The proportions are right, similar to the 48. It has dual front discs with ABS, the fat 16-inch mag wheels look to be of good quality, and the tank, which unfortunately doesn't look like a peanut, is said to hold 14 liters, a bit more than the 12.5 on my Sporty. The gauge appears to be TFT, although there are no pictures of what it will look like, and the front light seems to be LED. I'd prefer something a bit more traditional looking, but it's not terrible. The engine is blacked out, although you could finish it any way you like, and the bike looks a lot more legit than many of the other Harley clones that have come along over the years. The claim is that the Stormbreaker will weigh 250 kilograms or around 550 pounds, which is about 20 less than the wet weight on my Sportster, which seems similarly equipped. Given the fact that my bike has a smaller tank and thinner front wheel, I honestly don't see where the weight reduction would be coming from, so that's probably a dry weight claim. On the bright side, I would also guess that because this is pretty close to an exact replica of the Sportster, most of the limitless aftermarket accessories for the Harley are also likely to fit this motorcycle. So apparently this bike is coming out in Italy this summer, branded as the SWM V1200 Stormbreaker. Shineray also provides motorcycles to the MASH brand in France and Great Britain, so we could see this thing there as well under a different name. Price is as yet unknown, but is said to be affordable and entry level, so it should be far less expensive than the Harley Iron 883 and 48, which were both discontinued in Europe after 2021. How it will pass Euro 5 is a complete mystery to me, but maybe lower compression and improved cooling can help it squeak by emissions for now. So despite the fact that modern cruisers are pushing 2000cc these days, a 1200 is still a big bike and is far from entry level. Ride a 1200 Sportster and you'll feel those big power pulses and the wave of torque. There's definitely something to be said for entry-level prices, and if the Stormbreaker fills the void left behind by the Sportster in Europe for 8 or 9,000 euro, so be it. I can't see this thing ever selling well in North America though. Even if this motorcycle is functionally identical to the Sporty, a Chinese Sportster will never be accepted on these shores. Plus, there are so many used Sporties on the market that the well will probably never run dry. Where I can see this bike having some success is with custom builders. Replace the SWM badges and customize this thing properly, and your riding buddies may never know it's not the real thing. If it potatoes like a Harley, oh well. I think there's a place for bikes like this, and there will surely be a long line of Harley faithful to make fun of them. Personally, I don't see the harm. The EVO was one of, if not the best engine Harley ever made, and Harley shouldn't have cancelled it in North America as far as I'm concerned, so I have nothing against it continuing. In fact, if your Harley engine is pooched, you might be able to order this as a replacement. And if you associate China with poor quality, I have to tell you that there was a time when people used to deride products from Japan and Korea in the same way. In the 80s, there were lots of people saying they'd never drive a Japanese Econo box. Times change and the best companies solve their quality control issues. Maybe someday we'll think of Chinese companies as equal in quality to Japanese. So what do you think of the Charlie Stormbreaker? If it came to your country, would you consider buying one? If it was inexpensive enough, you could buy one and build a cool chopper. Please share your thoughts on this perplexing motorcycle in the comments below, and ride safe.
If you're interested in any of the gear that Brooke and I wear or use, or the camera equipment we use to film this channel, the links are below. Everything listed there was bought with our own money and we are not sponsored by any company. However, the links below are affiliate links and the channel is paid a small amount for referring you to shop at no additional cost to you. We do not recommend any products that we are not satisfied with ourselves, but we do strongly urge you to do your research and select the correct size for items like helmets and clothing. As always, thanks for watching, your support is greatly appreciated. Please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. And whatever you ride, enjoy it. Wave at other bikers no matter what they're riding. We're all part of a brotherhood and sisterhood. Keep the rubber side down, shiny side up, and may the spokes be with you.